Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Can I say some more? Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this evening's webinar. My name is Michael Miner, and I am the National Director of the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated Hope Health Ministry, and we're glad that you joined us on this evening. We know that you will be well informed from our illustrious panel. All right, we do want to acknowledge our national leadership, our president, Dr. Jerry Young, our general secretary, Dr. Alvin Edwards, the chair of our federal faith-based development initiative, Dr. Alvin Love. Well, everybody, this is an opportunity for you to share. If you're on social media, you can share on your Facebook page. You're on YouTube, you can copy the link and text it out to some people. It's going to be some great information shared on this evening. In this evening's TempleCare webinar, TempleCare Matters webinar, we will discuss maternal health. We'll also share about Let's Move NBC signups and provide an update on mental health first aid training. Now, of course, this evening's webinar is sponsored by the NIH's All of Us Research Program. Yes, join all of us. We want you to join all of us and be just like your NBCUSA Hope team has by becoming 1 in a million in the nation's largest ever research study. To learn more, you may go to joinallofus.org/NBCUSA. Again, that's joinallofus.org/NBCUSA. All right. This webinar is the 5th of a series of First Tuesday TempleCare Matters webinars. They have been evolving now to hybrid events where we have people across the country in their churches or in their homes showing this video and learning more about why it's important for TempleCare Matters. In each session, we will delve deeper into the 7 pillars of TempleCare Matters and spotlight one or more local congregational health ministries. All right. Look, just to remind you all, our annual session is coming up the first week in September. So our next TempleCare Matters will not be on the first Tuesday, but it'll be on the second Tuesday, September 13th. Again, our next TempleCare Matters webinar will not be on the first Tuesday. It'll be on the second Tuesday, September 13th. Same time, 7:30 p.m. Central. All right, let me introduce tonight's illustrious panelists, and then I'll be glad to turn the session over to them. I'll begin by introducing Dr. Desi Levy. Dr. Desi Levy is a native of Milwaukee, the widow to the late Reverend Dr. Gary Levy, the pastor of the True Love Missionary Baptist Church and president of the General Baptist State Convention of Wisconsin. Together, Reverend Dr. and Mrs. Dr. Gary Levy have 3 children and 8 grandchildren. Dr. Levy is active in Sunday school, Bible study, church administration, mission, and Christian education. She's the primary investigator for our NBCUSA H.O.P.E Ministry All of Us Research Program Outreach Grant. Dr. Levy is an inspirational leader and speaker, community advocate for underrepresented communities of colors, and a mentor to current and future nurses, physicians, and PhD students. Now check this out. She served as the first African-American academic dean of nursing in the state of Wisconsin at Milwaukee Area Technical College for over 15 years. Dr. Levy's area of practice has been women's health for over 25 years. Currently, she is an assistant professor at the Medical College of Wisconsin, Center for Translational Science Institute. Her research focus is health disparities and social determinants of health for faith-based communities. Dr. Desi demonstrates her commitment to Christ by applying a servant leadership mannerism and her passion for making a difference in her community. She serves on several executive boards and advisory councils throughout Wisconsin and the country. Recently, Dr. Levy was selected by President Joe Biden to attend his first presidential town hall meeting and asking the president questions regarding COVID-19 and plans to address disparities among African Americans. Dr. Levy has served in the National Baptist Convention's H.O.P.E Health Ministry for over 10 years. She's received numerous awards and honors for her service and leadership as a registered nurse and nurse executive. Dr. Levy is identified as one of Wisconsin's top ladies of distinction. She's also been recognized nationally by her colleagues as the best nurse leader in leadership and the Executive Administrative Nurse of the Year award. Dr. Levy's favorite scripture is, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that's within me, bless his holy name." Welcome, Dr. Levy. All right. Now, for our second illustrious panelist, Sister Ophelia Carr. All right. Sister Ophelia Carr is the Congress Dean for the General Baptist State Convention of Wisconsin, Incorporated. She has served in this position for the past 5 years. Sister Carr also served 5 years as General Secretary to the late General Baptist State Convention of Wisconsin President, Reverend Dr. Gary Levy. She's a certified H.O.P.E ambassador with over 7 years of service. Dean Carr is passionate about community-based participatory research. She is a national ambassador for the All of Us Research Program and works as a research coordinator for the True Love Outreach Center under Executive Director Dr. Desi Levy. Sister Carr participates regularly in various local and national research programs for the advancements of health for her family. Check this out. She is a 25-year participant in the University of Wisconsin's Madison longitudinal Alzheimer's study. Sister Carr has worked in women's and children's health for over 30 years. A 30-plus year member of Zeta Phi Beta sorority, she implemented and led the largest Stork's Nest project for the local chapter of Zeta Phi Beta sorority, Incorporated, providing thousands of young mothers with needed items, bedding, bottles, so on and so forth. Dean Carr is a proud member of the True Love Missionary Baptist Church, where she serves as the assistant Sunday school superintendent, teacher, and church administrator. She is active in mission and the nurses ministry. She's married to Deacon Angelo Carr. She's a mother of 3 adult daughters and grandmother of 4. Welcome, Sister Carr. All right. Well, everybody, you've seen enough of me tonight. Look, just as a reminder, if you don't mind, those of you that are on Zoom and on Facebook, oh, wow, we're just over so many of y'all watching us on Facebook tonight. If you would, just put in the name of your church and your pastor's name and your state convention, and we will be monitoring the National Baptist Convention and Hope Facebook page to field any questions that you may have. Now, without further ado, I will turn the rest of this webinar over to Dr. Desi Levy, who will take us further. Dr. Levy?
Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. I shall bless his holy name. Good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening here for our TempleCare Matters webinar on maternal health. You may ask the question, what does maternal health have to do with me? It has everything to do with you. I am going to begin with sharing my screen, and hopefully everyone will be able to see it shortly. So here we go. It is truly a pleasure. Thank you, Dr. Miner, for the wonderful introduction and sharing so much information about both myself and my co-presenter, Sister Ophelia Carr. She will be joining us. She's having a little technical difficulty, I believe, with her sound as we speak, but we're gonna move forward to be respectful of your time this evening. I just want to start here with a disclaimer that the presentation may include a few graphics and narratives that some may find intolerable. So feel free to turn away or turn your volume down as you see fit and necessary. Anytime we present information in our health industry, sometimes some people get a little bit squirmy. Some may say, well, that's not appropriate because we're in a Christian setting, but I would have you to know that God, our Father, was our first healthcare provider, our first researcher, and to him be the glory for the gift of healing. With that being said and clarified, also just want to acknowledge that the women's and maternal health, it's a family affair. It covers everybody from Pawpaw all the way down to the newest person of that family. Galatians 6:2 says, carry each other's burden, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. So again, maternal health, even though it has a women's health focus, is about the men in our family, the mothers, the fathers, the children, and the women, of course. I also want to just take a minute to acknowledge that this part of the presentation is coming in the wake of the very familiar Supreme Court regarding decision to overturn Roe versus Wade, a woman's right to choose. Our disclaimer this evening is for the information that we are presenting. It will in no shape, form, or fashion persuade anyone's decision on the subject matter of Roe versus Wade. Our presentation is based on family love and support through all wellness and illnesses that a woman and a man may experience across his or her lifespan. So again, I just wanted to give you that as a predecessor to our presentation. As Dr. Miner explained earlier, the TempleCare Matter is based upon a 7-pillar principle. And so tonight's presentation across the country, we are faced with concerns about the upcoming generations. We have high crime, we have high domestic violence rates, and everything that is really important and impacting the family. It's important for us to recognize that Black families are critical to continuing the existence here on God's earth. It is our TempleCare initiative where in this 7th pillar, all 7 of the pillars are inclusive of the family, specifically our children. A presentation is not a presentation without offering a few vital statistics on the subject matter. Specifically, since National Baptist, we are predominantly African American, Black individuals from across these United States. This chart is just a depiction of where our birth populations are, particularly Black African Americans. We rank number 3 as it relates to giving birth over the last decade. Some would take this data and say that it's possible that our generational spread is declining, because at one point we were leading this country in terms of the number of births each year. It's also important to acknowledge that of all the live births that happened in the United States between 2018 and 2020, again, our Black families gave birth to approximately 15.2% of the new babies brought into the world. And we have to take that at face value, unfortunately. According to the Black children statistics, this graph that you see here on your screen, family living arrangements are demonstrated on this slide. Black children make up 42% of the two-parent households, compared to 70% of all children making up the two-parent households. So as you can see, we're behind as far as two-family households by at least a third of the population. However, flip the coin, mother-only households, Black children are raised in 46% of the households in America, at a comparison of only 21% of other ethnicities that are being raised by a single parent household, and specifically the mothers. It's also relevant that we review Black children raised by only their fathers, which is far and few in terms of children that are African American descent, compared to those who are not their biological parents, but we still exceed all children at a ratio of 4% over regular, all children, should I say, that are in two-family or one-family households. Next slide. So maternal health. What is maternal health, you may ask? Oh, sorry about that. Maternal health refers to a woman's health before, during, and after she becomes pregnant, or the family should become pregnant, and encompasses aspects of a physical, mental, emotional, and social health. These are all incorporated in the pillars of TempleCare matters. The World Health Organization defines maternal health as the health of a woman during pregnancy, childbirth, and the postnatal period, meaning right after she has that bundle of joy. Every day around the world, an estimated 830 women die from pregnancy or childbirth related causes, mostly in low-income areas. An additional 7,000 newborn babies die each day. Many of these deaths could be avoided and or prevented with the proper prenatal care. So the purpose of our presentation this evening, even though you may be in a family that may not be raising children or considering having children at this point, but looking at your grandchildren, yours truly, it is an opportunity to really encourage our young mothers coming along to make sure that they seek prenatal care early, particularly in our teen moms, because again, they are afraid and they are fearful of telling mom, telling dad that they've been impregnated, and they put off going to see an obstetrician because of that. So once that bundle of joy has arrived, our attention shifts to his or her daily needs in feeding. We were asked this evening to just kind of talk about some of the challenges in the process of birthing. I wanted to share with you this particular scripture. For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. Psalms 139:13. I put this scripture here because, again, pathophysiology, you don't attend a health presentation without understanding how the human body functions. Again, as I said in the beginning, God was our first scientist. He was our first physician. He was our first everything. With that being said, he marvelously and wonderfully made and engineered our bodies. This picture, isn't it just wonderful how God created us? We think that we know how we function and operate, but at the same time, he's made each little anatomic part so special that we have to be able to explain it and share it. So this graph here is a depiction of the anatomy of the breast, because we're going to talk about breast health and breastfeeding actually as a part of maternal health. The lobules that you see at the top are the little pockets inside of the breast tissue. Breast tissue is mostly fat tissue. And in those lobules, they each one of the little small circles create the whole entire lobe that actually is where the milk is produced. Once the milk is produced inside of those lobes and lobules, they travel down through some veins that go into the areola, which is around there. And these veins are called ducts that you see here on the bottom of the screen. And then the baby latches on and sucks, and milk is produced out of the woman's body. One of the major mechanisms of feeding, the cycle of eating, is the food. And so I just wanted to make sure that we all saw this part of the anatomy as we try to help share just a little bit of information. You won't get it all tonight because we only have a short period of time. And so I'm highlighting, along with Sister Carr, the major points that we want you to walk away with understanding about maternal health as you become either a grandparent or a new parent. And notice I keep emphasizing grandparent because we just had our 8th grandbaby a year ago. He just turned 1. So I know, TMI, huh? So why is breastfeeding important? Breastfeeding is important for several reasons. This chart here really depicts what nutrients that come from the breast milk. A lot of clichéic information is out there that may not be necessarily true. Breastfeeding and the use of human milk are considered the best choice for the health of the baby and many benefits to the mother as well. So mothers should always be supported and encouraged to breastfeed their infants when they are born. The generation now, young women, are a little bit more challenged because breastfeeding is considered old-fashioned, but there's nothing new under the sun, and we encourage our young mothers to help build those immunities, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Breast milk is uniquely tailored for each baby, and its nutrients are rich in prebiotics, antibiotics, enzymes, and the perfect amount of protein and fat and carbohydrates for the growth and development of the baby. Breastfeeding
Dr.
protects.
Levy,
Yes.
we can also say that breast milk is important because it's all natural. You don't have to mix any water. You don't have to do anything. You just put, because the baby just attached to the breast and it's natural. Don't have to do nothing with it as we do with our formula.
Absolutely. And so with even going into the formula aspect of it, Sister Carr, formula, of course, is man-made and is engineered with the nutrients to try to replicate what God has already made natural, a natural part of our bodies. And so that breastfeeding range of the benefit and the importance inclusive of gastrointestinal infections. Only over 64% of the babies do not experience, we called it in the older days, as some would say, colic. That baby is colicky. Give the baby some baking soda. Guess what? If the mom breastfeeds, chances are those types of gastrointestinal infections won't occur. Reduction in the childhood inflammatory bowel disease. What that means is that the bowels, instead of constantly running with loose, watery, diarrheal type stools, chances are their stools will become more to do what they're supposed to do, and that's a cleansing of the byproducts that's produced in the milk itself. And so again, I won't insult your intelligence. You've seen the chart here. Feel free to put your questions in the chat and we'll try to answer those shortly. So the recommendations for breastfeeding, specifically the American Academy of Pediatrics and the World Health Organization recommend that all women exclusively breastfeed for the first 6 months of their baby's lives. And that means that Big Mama would probably say, give that baby some water. I was really shocked with this last grandbaby when the practice has changed to not introducing water into the infant's dietary intake, because water fills the baby up, which is a good thing in some instances, but it only does just that. It only fills the baby up. It does not give the baby the nutrients that he or she would get from breastfeeding. Breastfeeding for at least 2 months cuts a baby's risk of sudden infant death syndrome almost in half. It also offers fewer Black infants. 74% are even ever breastfed compared with the infants of white individuals at 86% and Hispanics at 82%. And this is recent data, because when you look historically at Black families always breastfed our babies. It was even to the generational point where if my breast milk would dry, my neighbor's breast milk would be sufficient to share across babies. And that may sound gross to some, but it's the reality of how we came along when we did not have formula. And we are going to talk about that. Sister Carr.
Hello. The nutrients of breast milk, the breakdown. As you can see on the screen, how breast milk is. We can tell that it is important. It's super important because we can see that it has 87% of water. What does that mean? It means that it's natural. Everything is natural. It's all natural. It has 7% of lactose. So when we see in our society today is that babies, they say babies have lots of lactose intolerance. Well, if you breastfeed your baby, it has only 7%. 4% of fat, that's all it has. It's 4% of fat compared to cow's milk and for the formula, and 1% of protein. What an awesome way that God has made women to be able to breastfeed the baby to make sure that it lives forever, and it has a great nutrient. The baby thrives. It's not as sickly as other babies. I can attest to two of the girls at my oldest daughter, they was breastfed. They did not have colds as many as my third baby did. They was healthy. They were just thriving. So breast milk is most important in our society today. Next screen, Dr. Levy. As you can see on the pictures that we've depicted here, are the formula shortage. The week of April 24th, 2022, we in the United States experienced a nationwide shortage of infant formula, which sends parents scrambling and lawmakers wondering, what happened? What did we do? We were running around trying to find formula of all types. We may have found the formula, but we could not find the one that we needed for our babies and grandbabies. However, beginning in May of 2022, the United States was completely out of stock in retail stores, with hospital supplies growing smaller each day and each new infant being born across the country. So we already knew in April that we did not have any formula, but our hospitals, our nurseries, that was running super short on baby formula. So what did they do? They looked and they looked. It says also healthy babies have plenty of options for feeding, but the shortage are being most felt acutely by parents who have children with special need formula to survive because they suffer from severe medical conditions. So with the shortage as it was for the formula, those babies who had health issues or health concerns needed this formula, but it was nowhere to be found, not even in the hospitals, our pantries, or anywhere in the country. So we was at a crisis. We was at a, as we can say, as the pandemic has put us, we was just scrambling for formula. Supply chain problems had exacerbated by a nationwide recall of formula by Abbott Nutrition. Abbott is the leading manufacturer of infant formula. If we can think back when I was a kid, and I'm going to date myself, I'm almost 60. My mom she called it pet milk or carnation milk, and they mixed it up. But today, formula is manufactured in a factory by Abbott Laboratories, who is a leading manufacturer. It's one of the largest in the country, and they continue to have a shutdown on Abbott manufacturing in Michigan. So Michigan is the only place that formula is being created. The FDA launched an inspection of the plant and found that 4 infants had been hospitalized with a rare bacterial infection, where 2 of those infants had passed away. So with that being noted into the world, into the country, they pulled everything off the shelves. Every formula that was out there, and there was 1 or 2 cans left, they had took them and put them behind the counter, and you had to wait for your formula to be available. Abbott and the FDA issued a recall on 3 brands of formula made in their faculty, including the Similac, which is one of the oldest infant formulas that's around. They pulled everything. And the Similac was the most popular for infants. As supply chain issues continue as a result of the pandemic, parents and caregivers are still grappling with a shortage may never anticipate the baby formula storage. So even today, 6 months later, we are still trying to figure out where do we get more formula? How long is it going to take for Abbott Pharmaceutical to make more? As of July 10th, a month ago, the federal government has transported more than 44 million 8-ounce bottles equivalent of the infant formula to the United States. So we had to reach out to our counterparts around the world to have infant formula shipped to us. I know many families are wondering, is it going to be safe? Is it the same as we had before? But they had to put their trust in God to let them know that it's going to be all right and that their baby will be able to survive with this milk.
Sister
Baby
Carr,
formula, maybe, yes, ma'am.
also, it's important to mention that with the compilation of the shortage and COVID, people are struggling to really trust what the process is for development of the formula. We still have individuals that want to make their home formula. I was born in the era where the formula was, instead of it being Similac produced, they produced it on top of the stove. Mom would use a set of glass bottles. They put water in them, sterilize them as they would frame it, but they were really sanitizing them. They would make the milk by heating up pet carnation milk, whole milk, along with Karo syrup, and adding the water. So being careful, because I've seen that out there on social media. You know what? It shouldn't even be a formula shortage. And you're right, because as long as there are breasts out there, we have social media organizations that are actually trading breast milk And so you talk about utilizing a village and making resources available. Women are doing that of other cultures. We in our African American culture tend to say, "Ugh, that's nasty. That I don't know what that woman has. I don't want to feed my baby that milk." So just be cognizant when we talk about making up our home remedy. The reason that companies began to expand was because they had access to the appropriate nutrients that were mentioned a few slides back to produce the formula. And that's why they skyrocketed like they did. And we have to be cognizant of that.
And as you said, Dr. Levy, that moms and grandmas, they had glass bottles that were sterilized. Glass. It was the best thing to use compared to plastic, where we know that there's different ingredients in how plastic is made. So they knew at that time how the formula should be and how healthy we would be. Look at us today. We're healthy. We're healthy adults who was raised on those things such as pet milk and carnation, how we was for a formula compared to our children today. Baby formula may be the only source of nutrition for our infants until 6 months, but the shortage is not only impacting our infants, it also impacts older children and adults. We think that, because the formula was short just for the infants, we have adults who still depend on those formulas, those baby formulas to live by. As we move forward, it's not only the infant that needs this access to nutrient protection, but the children and adults who rely on specialized formulas need to protect as well. As you can see in the screen that Dr. Levy has moved to, it's the breast milk versus formula. There, you can just see the difference, just looking at the volume, how breast milk has more nutrients, more ingredients than the formula. As you can see, the formula only has 5 ingredients, where breast milk has everything. It has the growth factors, it has the white cells, the antibodies, it's fat, everything that is needed, water. As Dr. Levy has stressed, as the pediatrician that told her daughter not to give the baby water, which I don't understand, but we can see from the breast milk that it has lots of water, as we saw on the previous screen, of 87%. Where in formula, you have to add the water based on the size of the bottle that you're making for the baby. So the advantages of breast milk versus formula, breast milk is best compared to our formula because you never have a shortage of breast milk. Next slide, Dr. Levy.
So with that being said, thank you, Sister Carr, for sharing. I just want to end with a God sense of humor for our listening audience and those that are listening in and watching. In this scripture, and God said unto Abram, as for Sarai, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name be, and I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations, kings of people shall be of her. I highlighted this part in yellow because this shows that our God has a sense of humor. Then Abraham fell unto his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? Those were questions that fell in Abraham's heart. I put these older women, the silver foxes, and this is an emoji of myself in the middle, is because as we talk about maternal age, we honestly believe that at a certain point, we're not going to engage in rearing, pre-pregnancy, post-pregnancy, with the babies, love them as grandbabies and send them home. But God had a different plan for Sarah. And, they laughed about it. But as you can see, my emoji, I don't think that's funny. Because if that were to happen to me at 90 years old, oh my Lord, we'll just leave it there. And that's some food for thought for those of you who think that you're beyond that point. But again, maternal health is a relevant, extremely relevant part of the Temple Care Matters. And we appreciate you all listening and participating via the chat this evening. So, with that being said, we want to, I believe it's time for us to bring in Sister Nettie. We hope that what we've shared with you have been a benefit and you can tell someone else. Feel free to reach out to us at the General Baptist website, General Baptist wi.org is our website, and Hope Ministry tab is on there, and you can feel free to reach out to us and or call us at our General Baptist State Convention of Wisconsin, area code 414-264-6869. Sister Nettie, I just want to introduce to the audience who Sister Nettie is. Sister Nettie Johnson is an author, podcaster, award-winning speaker, teacher, and founder of the Education for Transformation, a wellness organization that develops and delivers curated education and programming addressing Black health disparities. A degree and NCHEC credentialed health educator. Nettie also holds multiple fitness and health coaching certificates. Directly related to the topic of this webinar series, Nettie is an ACE certified weight management specialist. In this role and work, Nettie helps clients impacted by overweight and obesity to learn to long-term weight management success through a balance of behavior change strategies, exercise, and nutrition. Nettie is a Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Culture of Health leader, and she serves as a national physical fitness coordinator of the National Baptist Convention, USA Incorporated, HHS Partnership, and director of the Let's Move National Baptist. Sister Nettie, it's in your hand.
Thank you so much. It is an honor, as always, to be on these webinars. And thank you so much, Dr. Levy and Sister Carr, for sharing that really important and helpful information around maternal health. It is such a tremendously important topic for us to engage with not only our churches, but our communities where our churches do sit. And thank you so much for lifting the importance of breastfeeding. I want to kind of just tie into that topic very quickly a little bit about activity as it relates to maternal health as well. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists released a study that shows that women that were habitually active before they got pregnant safely continued during pregnancy and postpartum. They found that being physically active as a mom can actually help to reduce the risk of gestational diabetes. It can lower the incidences of cesareans. It can improve postpartum recovery time, as well as be an essential factor in preventing some of the depression and those types of disorders that can happen to women in the postpartum period. Postpartum depression is real, and exercise can even help with that. So we see that being active across the board in all things, and even in this, when we talk about maternal health, being active is good for us. It is very helpful and helpful for the mother, not only during pregnancy, but for her health there and beyond. And it is also helpful for the family. Dr. Levy, I really appreciate the statistics that you lifted in the beginning of the webinar. And when we consider the disproportionate number of families that our children are being raised in a home with a single mother, to have children to see their mother be active, to see mothers taking time to exercise and to move, it first of all teaches about valuing our temple, taking care of ourselves, the value of healthcare, of self-care, which is actually temple care. But it also gives a really great tone in the family that is needed for us. We have to combat some of this sedentary life and behavior that is increasing and is impacting our young people as with technology, we become more and more sedentary. So it's good for the mom, it's good for the baby, it's good for their lifestyle and their legacy. So we are just so grateful that in all of these things to continue to lift up health activity as it is important for our health. With that said, we've come off a summer hiatus, which is really important for all of us to have periods of rest. And I want to say that Let's Move National Baptist has not taken a hiatus. During these months of June and July, we continued on with our outreach. And I just want to share a little bit and then we'll do our drawing. During June and July, we continued with our email outreach. There were 5 of those that discussed everything from how to make exercise a habit, the freedom that can come from taking care of our body and moving and having more mobility, how exercise can enhance our overall life, the value of rest, and how to negative split the year, meaning how to finish the year more active, stronger than perhaps we started. And that can be so helpful for those that sometimes, you know how we do, we start off really hard and heavy in the beginning of the year with these great plans and we hit it and somewhere things fall off. That's okay, it's not over till it's over. We can finish the year strong and more active. I just want to lift one thing about the email outreach, because many, if not most of the individuals that are on these webinars, if you're not involved in health ministry in local churches, you may also be leading it. This is an email-based outreach program, mostly for the convenience of the participants. And y'all, we just praise God and thank you, the many of you that are signed up with this program. Over this past summer, our 5 email outreaches that we have had engagement rates that were 3 times the national average for similar programs. 3 times the national rate. God is good. And it shows the value of faith-based outreach as it relates to health. So we just thank God and we keep on going. One more thing. In addition to the emails, we also did hold 4 open hours. And for these are small groups, they're unscripted, where we come in a Zoom room. It's not a webinar, it's an open meeting where we can see one another, talk to one another. And it's been really great to hear folks celebrating strides, discussing their challenges, brainstorming things that they're doing individually, as well as programming that they're doing in our local churches. So please do keep your eyes on those emails. If you've not participated in any of the open hours, there are 2 per month, every month, and we would love to have you there. So with that said, we are going to move on and to do the drawing for this month's Let's Move National Baptist participant. Again, we always love, thank Dr. Miner for this wonderful, wonderful gift. I mean, participation pays. And during the call, we selected individuals, 3, to make sure that they were on the call, that have been participating. That means that you're engaging in the email outreach. The system is set up so that we can see that, and they're actually on the call tonight and participating in this webinar. And today's winner, Dr. Miner, how much is this gift card for? How much is this?
$100.
See there, see, God is good. Dr. Miner, you rock. This is wonderful. So this particular, the person who was selected for this month's drawing is Sister Dorothy Cravey. I hope I'm saying that right. Cravey. Congratulations, Sister Cravey. Thank you so much for your continued participation. God bless you and enjoy your gift card. Thank you all so much. Please keep on encouraging others to sign up as we continue to move forward and add additional elements into Let's Move National Baptist. It's for God's glory and our health improvement. That's just lagniappe on the backside. Thank you so much. You take care. God bless. Be well.
Thank you, Dr. Nettie, Sister Nettie, should I say? I'm sorry, for sharing that with us. And
Dr. Levy, you just hold for one moment. We understand that we have Sister Cravey. She wants to unmute. If she just hits unmute, she can say a word. Sister Cravey, are you able to unmute your mic, Sister Cravey?
Okay.
There you go, Dr. Sister Cravey. Congratulations.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening to all. Got a chance to get on from the beginning this time. Enjoying the webinar, kind of under the weather right now, but I'm enjoying the webinar.
All right. What's your church home and your pastor's name?
Okay, I'm a member of Mount Sinai Missionary Baptist Church in Mobile, Alabama. Reverend Arif Bradley is my pastor.
Are you from
And
LA?
Mobile, Alabama.
LA, Lower Alabama.
No, if you want to say that, yeah. We are affiliated with Alabama State Missionary Baptist Convention.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Sister Ned, we do have an address and everything, right?
I'm going to get that through the chat. I have email and I will get that information. So hang
All right.
on with us, Sister Cravey,
All
and
right.
check the chat.
Congratulations, Sister Cravey.
Thank you.
All right.
Feel better.
All right.
Okay.
Dr. Levy, back in your hands.
Okay, well, again, thank you and congratulations, Sister Cravey. I did have the All of Us webpage up, and for whatever reason, I don't have it out anymore. So I'm just going to tell you where you all need to go, if you don't mind. And we really want to encourage everyone to participate in our webinar. So visit us at the NBCUSA Hope webpage, and you will find out more information. Next, we have updates on our mental health training efforts from Sister Bettina Campbell, and she's going to share with us now.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Dr. Levy. I'm really enjoying everything. Often you think you know everything, but there's always something else you can learn. So thank you all for sharing. We are right now in the process of planning for our next set of mental health first aid training. And we anticipate that within the next couple of months, we should have our schedule set. And so we will be announcing that on our webpage and also at our TempleCare webinars. So if you're interested, you can start to let me know so that I can make sure that we have a class which requires 20 to 25 people to be per class. So if you're interested, just start sending me information so that we can begin to create our wait list and notify you once the classes are ready to start. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me through our webpage, and I will get that message from Brother Duke and I'll get back with you. Or you can send me an email at Bettina@HopeNBC.com. That's all I have for right now.
All right. Thank you, Sister Bettina, for sharing that. And then just this last slide, we want to encourage everyone to stop by. As Dr. Miner said at the beginning of our presentation is sponsored by the All of Us Research Program. If you're interested in being part of All of Us, please, sir, please, ma'am, come over to the joinallofus.org/NBCUSA. This is a very conscientious and well supported by our national president, Reverend Dr. Jerry Young. As Dr. Miner mentioned, I am the PI for the Hope Ministry and its efforts with the National Institute of Health, along with Dr. Miner is the co-PI. And so we really, really encourage you and your congregations to get involved. A lot of times people want to push back as it relates to participating in research because of what happened many years ago. However, God has given us the ability to study. And he has blessed us, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, with the gift of healing. And we just want to make sure that if we're going to be part of healing, that we're at the table when they're making up the menu. Because my late husband used to say, you know, y'all Baptist preachers out there, if you don't become part of the planning, you are definitely going to be on the menu. So with that being said, We just have a few closing announcements to share with you this evening. We want to remind everybody that September 5th through the 9th in hot Houston, Texas, the National Baptist USA Convention will convene its annual session. You can join in on the web and on social media while we're in session that entire week. Please, you can visit the webpage of Hope, H.O.P.E, NBC.com, or you can go to the Facebook for the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, Hope Health Initiative. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube channel at NBC USA Hope. We would appreciate your feedback as we continue to host these different webinars. Finally, we want to show appreciation for their tireless effort and work with our Hope Ministry. Our entire NBC Hope team, our national team, is Dr. Minor, our fearless leader. We appreciate him for pushing us to our highest expectation. Also, Sister Lottie Minor. We also thank Sister Bettina Campbell, Pastor Dexter Morangi, Ellen McKnight, Felicia Washington, Minister Geraldine Moore, Loretta Miller, Dr. Lavoria Williams, Nettie Johnson, Dr. Marion Talley, and none other than our technical support. We would not be anywhere without him. Brother Thomas, we call him Duke Robertson. All of those individuals help to make this ministry continue to do as God has called us to do. Also, we want to acknowledge our seven regional coordinators, Pastor Daniel Blackburn of Northeast Region, Brooklyn Rogers of the South East Region, yours truly, our own Pastor Bernard Montgomery of the Southwest 1 region, Sister Linda Carper of the Southwest 2 region, Teresa Fels-Fart of the wonderful, dynamic Midwest. You who go Wisconsin. Our coordinator, Norma Jackson of the West, and Pastor Richmond Johnson of the Far West. So we know that some of you have had additional questions or comments, so we'll formally close today's worship in just a moment.
Dr. Levy, we do have some people on Facebook, and I know that they won't be able to join us. We have 2 questions from Facebook, if you don't mind. Would you be able to answer those? Because we want to. All right, so type this in there. Okay. We want to make sure we get everybody. So the question is, all right, what are some ways to educate the Black community regarding maternal health and breast health, especially specifically teens and young adults?
That, again, it's an opportunity. I don't know which region that person is from, but it's an opportunity to reach out to your regional coordinator. I can just speak for here in our Midwest, and specifically in Wisconsin. We offer consistent and regular educational trainings for young parents, young parenting classes that's presented specifically inside of the church, so that it's not how do you want to say, power driven, saying that you got to do this, you got to do that, but really presenting them with factual, science-based, evidence-based information that will help them be the best parents that they could be. Again, opening up, using your young people department of your state conventions also is a platform to get the word out and educate. The reality of it is there is a high number of individuals that are young parents, and I mean young, starting at age 12 and up, that really need to be nurtured and developed, especially as it relates to raising babies. So again, look us up on Hope. Just reach out to us via the website or our Hope email, and we'll be happy to help you get started.
All right. We have a second question is, I thought using another mother's breast milk was not good.
Theoretically, it's not good, but I spoke to using another mother's breast milk from a historical perspective in Black culture. But there are some social media groups out there, particularly stay-at-home moms that are familiar, that run in the same circle of friends. When the milk shortage was like, no, you couldn't find not one can of formula before we start receiving shipments from China that shared their breast milk. It's a practice. Whether or not you feel comfortable with it, you have to be the judge of that.
All right. I've got another question. Is the effect of breast reductions taught in your seminars?
Is the effect of breast? Well, it's not in this one, but we've done them before. So if you are interested in talking about breast reductions and its benefits, again, just tag on to Hope and bring that as a interesting topic for what it is that you want us to cover.
All right. We have one more social media question. It says, does breastfeeding hurt?
In the first 3 days, Sister Carr, you can speak to this as well. In the first 3 days, you have what's called your letdown process. And so, yes, it is uncomfortable sometime within those first 3 days. But after that, because your milk is fully produced, it's all, you can breastfeed until your baby is 5 if you want to.
5.
But they encourage us to breastfeed for at least the first year of life. But you have people that breastfeed for, 2-3 years.
But also remember that there are lactation consultants that's in the hospital. They're also in our community with our doula nursing doula program. They're there to assist moms, new moms, on how to breastfeed the proper way. So they just have to reach out to their community for that lactation consultant to assist them.
All right. And what's the for those who don't know what a doula is, would you mind sharing what that is, Sister Carr?
It's a partner that you have during the pregnancy, during the delivery. They're also there at the beginning of the pregnancy until the delivery of the baby. So there's like that sister that's there to coach you along the way, to hold your hand, to encourage you that it's going to be all right. Great program for new moms.
And most doulas have been has participated in some type of certificate training in order to be able to do that. But you do have some that haven't had any training but classify themselves as doula. So just make sure you know what your doula can do.
All right. We don't have any more questions on social media. We'll get this last question that's on Zoom, and then you can do the wrap up and close out after leave. The last question is on before we go to Zoom only. What about hospital breast milk banks?
Hospital breast milk banks, again, is one of those ways that individuals share their breast milk. And again, they come in because it's not like you're sharing blood, because it's a whole different type of bank. And the nutrients in mom's breast milks are generally similar, regardless to their ethnicity and or age. So hospitals have a way of controlling the breast bank, and that's why they exist.
Okay, that's it. You go ahead and wrap up for our social media part.
Okay, someone says this survey isn't linked.
We're typing in another. We changed the link. I'm typing in again. There's a new link, and we're good. And we also posted on social media.
Okay. So once again, everyone, we acknowledge our president, Reverend Dr. Jerry Young, who reminds us to envision the future exceptionally. This has been a production of the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, the nation's largest Black denomination organized faith. God bless and God keep each of you is our prayer.